Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here, whether you're catching this live or catching the recording. I've been listening to this man named Mark Christopher. He's really bringing it forward. And he's the only one teaching some of the things that he's teaching. Now, a lot of what he's teaching is a lot of what I've been saying, a lot of what I've been teaching. And all you have to do is own your authority. So I'm going to play a couple of segments from a recent talk, and then we'll address it. So this is from Training for the People, for the World, to Protect Themselves, 24th February 2022. And I'm picking this up at the 39-minute, 32-second mark. And we'll go forward for a few minutes. We'll listen to Mark Christopher talk.
Before I got
darling,
yes, sorry.
We're not going to get into that.
Okay.
I'm going to teach you the mechanism. But
Okay.
it is the mechanism. It is the county coroner you will need to speak to. All right.
Okay.
I have not finished my talk, so you guys need to listen and ask questions about what I have just said, as opposed to anything else. All right.
Okay.
For exploration reasons, you might be jumping the gun, and that will just confuse people. I'm happy to take one more question before I go on to the next.
In the Netherlands, we don't have a coroner. We have a forensic pathologist. Is that the same person you are referring to?
I do not know. But if you send me the detail through email, saying that I asked for it, I can email you back. Probably, take me 7 days or so because I'm behind the emails. My staff is overworked, and I can give you that answer. Okay. I take it that's tonight. Yes. Okay. Let's go to the document itself. Remember, you will have a recording of this. All right. And I'm going to be speaking in a steady, slow voice, and I will punctuate, if not emphasize.
Okay. So why is it the coroner that you need to be addressing? In a previous talk, he says the coroner's court is the only court that is the most important. I'm going to paraphrase. I'm not quoting. It's the most important court to you. Why? Because the coroner decides whether you're alive or dead. That's why. And in Michigan, there's no coroners. So that caller was on the Zoom. In their country, they don't have coroners. Now, what Mark is teaching is the proper way to facilitate a document and serve it on your county coroner. To let him know that if he has you listed as dead in his records, that needs to be corrected. That would be your county coroner. In Michigan, we don't have one. They've been abrogated. All right. I want to talk about another important point. And I got some notes here. All right. At the 124-minute mark, he starts talking about the notary. And he's saying that the notary public is for corporate. It's not for the man or the woman. However, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to explain why. So here's one of my court cases. It went through the Postal Service. Call that a federal postal court, if you like. I have the proof of service. I had checked adult signature. Here on the card, there's different things you can check. You can see I checked adult signature because of that statement right there. All right, that statement. Notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent. All right, now, why? Why is it that a notary public is for corporate, for fictions? Notary public. It's for the public, just by the name. However, all of these courts where you have a judge are puny courts. They're not lawful courts. They're fiction and they're all evil. And they got to be abrogated. They do. All right, so this says, for the verification, I hereby declare, comma, certify and state, comma, pursuant to the penalties of perjury under the laws of the United States of America and by the provisions of 28 USC 1746, that all the above and foregoing representations are true and correct to the best of my knowledge, information, and belief. Executed in Kalkaska, Michigan. This was done on the 25th day of June in the year 2021. Autograph of Affan. A man makes an autograph, not a fiction, not a corporation. Notary is jurat certificate. Michigan, Kalkaska County, on this 25th day of June 2021, before me, and then the name is written properly, a notary public, see the word public, personally appeared Ethan D. Dean, who proved to me on the basis of satisfactory evidence to be the man who's the what? The man. Not the fiction, not the dead. The man whose name is subscribed to the within instrument and acknowledged to me that he executed the same in his authorized capacity, and that by his autograph on the instrument, the man executed the instrument. And then it goes on, I certify under penalty of perjury, under the lawful laws of Michigan State, that the foregoing paragraph is true and correct. Witness my hand and official seal. Signature of notary jurat. So, this is a court of record. How do we know that? Well, because when you enter court, comes now Affan, one of the people, as seen in the Michigan Bill of Rights, Article 1, Section 1, Michigan Constitution. She juris in this court of record to make the following claims. Millie, knock it off. I'm dog sitting. I might have to do something to quiet her down here. Millie, come here. It's just a puppy. So I have no control over the dog with words. Unless she wants to, right? All right. So This is public. It's court of record. That's affidavit by the maxims of law. Where there is no law, the maxims rule. So I'm going to stand on that. We don't. Now, he talks about the notary and justice of the peace is for the man, and notary is for the fiction. And I'm going to start this here at the 1:23-minute mark. We're going to listen for a couple of minutes. My note says 1:24, but it's just so hard to get this thing to stop so precisely. So we'll just go from here.
I've corrected my status already, so I'm not sure how that affects what you're talking about, but I wanted to ask you, what is a financial conduit authority?
In this country, we call them financial services authority that regulate the bankings. And they're there pretending that they regulate banking, but they're actually giving the means for them to use your security in order to, create money from your securities. It's just an agency in this country. You have your own. It's called Securities and Exchange Commission.
Thank
Okay.
you. Yes.
Next question.
Hi, Mark. Elaine here. I'm just wondering, can a witness be a JP to sign paperwork?
If you can find a justice of the peace, yes, but please do not confuse a justice of the peace with what is known as a public notary, because a public notary only notifies actors' documents. Only actors' documents. And if you want to be an actor, you would go to a public notary. If you're not an actor, you're a man or woman, you would go to a JP, which is called a justice of the peace. Yes, you can have this document witnessed by a justice of the peace. In this country, we can't find one. But there used to be one in every library in England until about 6 or 7 years ago, but they all disappeared.
A public notary, is that the court?
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I've given you the designation.
Yeah.
A public notary is a person that witnesses other persons' documents, not the documents of men and women. A justice of the peace witnesses documents of men and women.
Yes.
One artificial, which is called a public notary, and another one, which is justice of the peace for factual men and women. Next question, please.
All right. So a justice of the peace, according to Mark Christopher, that's your best avenue. Dealing with a coroner in the coroner's court is the most important court to you, according to Mark Christopher. Owning your authority is what's most important to you. And what are you going to do with that authority? What's the most effective thing you can have from your authority? I want to suggest to you that it's law enforcement. Law enforcement. That's what matters. And who's responsible for law enforcement? That's the sheriff. Who has the highest arresting power? You do. Mark Christopher talks about that too. I've been telling you. But there aren't very many men around that got enough cojones to even lift up their finger and give me a thumbs up. They got their tails so far between their legs, they can't make a comment. Where are the men? Where are you, men? How much of this are you going to take? And how much are you going to let the women and children suffer because of your spinelessness? Oh, I'm frustrated beyond belief. Mark Christopher talks about the men at the 1:33-minute mark. 1:32:56. We'll pick it up here.
The emergency act thing. Okay, that was under 3 days rescission. So that's what that is. If there are other people there and they tracer you, if people don't come to your rescue, as it were, because they're you're not in their own frame of mind, then you're just dealing with cowards. I have been in situations that are in your situation. I've done it on a much larger scale. Believe me, these things work. They have a lot of power. Yeah.
I might have to.
Does that answer your question?
Can I try to speak back to you what I think I understood? I don't want to take your time.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. You're here to take my time, so I'm giving it freely, so you might as well make use of it.
Thank you. So, one, you have had success with the people around you standing up with you.
No. I rely on nobody. I do everything I do by myself, for myself. And if other people join me, they join me and they become witnesses and do the same thing. You know, one such case is me and Alex went to Lloyd's of London. He's one of the judges. And we shut down Lloyd's of London for, the period that we was there. Yeah, and that's on record and all that sort of stuff. So I rely on nobody. But you being a lady have to rely on a man. If you can't rely on men, then you're on a different world, on a different planet. Okay, that's the plain fact of it. So what I'm saying to you, if men are too cowardly to protect their women, there's nothing I can do for them. They're not. You're not dealing with men. These are not men. I don't know what they are. You might need to ask the county coroner who they are. They might find a name for them. I'm just being very direct with you. I have never relied on other people to do my fight. I've never done it, and I never will. Yeah, but what I'm saying to you.
All right. So many people got a problem. Help me. I need help. Help me. I need help. Why don't you help yourself? And men, why don't you be a man? Now, we need law enforcement. So I'm going to address this directly to the truckers, because the truckers are showing that they're men. Now, I tried many ways to get the veterans involved. Veterans are spineless. Hard to believe. But that's the way men are trained today by our government. To be spineless. So that's what we get from the veterans. That's probably why so many of them commit suicide, why so many of them are on the street, homeless, because they've been brainwashed. Be that way. Otherwise, it would be different, because that is not natural. Train a man to be a warrior, and when they're done with the training, they come home and they kill themselves, or they live in poverty. Wake up. This brainwashed society has got to wake up. And we need law and order. I thought maybe the First Amendment auditors might be a group that would come together. No, they're more concerned about making making a splash here or there. They don't have the cojones to step up and do what needs to be done. We need men. And I just can't say that any plainer or any simpler. We need men being men. Now, truckers, in my opinion, you're making a huge mistake. You're traveling all across the land to go to a foreign land to protest an enemy. It doesn't make sense. Deal with the sheriff and deal with the coroner. Study from Mark Christopher. Study from me. It's simple. It's powerful. And we can have law and order. When we have law and order, we can deal with all of this treason, all of this poison, all of this corruption. Truckers, you have so much power. What you can do with those trucks, the way you can move goods and get supplies where they're needed, where you can block the enemy when needed, when you can barricade the enemy and keep us safe when needed. If you're alive, you can get your paperwork to the coroner. Coroner, if you got one, is probably spineless too. You can do all the steps, but at some point, arrests have to be made. And Mark Christopher talks about that. About you and me individually with the power that we have. Arrest a treasonous rat. Arrest a war criminal. Own your authority. And truckers, you know the people got your back. You know that. Look at all the other countries. Look at Canada. Truckers, I'm pleading with you to change your focus. And I'm not a leader. I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be titled. I've taken the position of executive emergency manager for Michigan. I've done that in open court of record. I've done that by affidavit under penalty of perjury. And I'm dealing with treason. And we have no law enforcement. And we have a military that is military commanders that are treasonous and agree to it in a court of record. We need to make arrests. The sheriff is in charge of law enforcement. He's the highest law enforcement officer on the land. We need good sheriffs. And I think some of them want to be. But they got a leader who goes by Sheriff Mack. Who advises these sheriffs to be treasonous rats. Through his constitutional sheriff's association. He has you sheriffs join his posse so he can train you to trespass upon us. We got to stop to treason. We need law enforcement. You can form assemblies all day long. You can create your grand juries all day long. You can hold trial and issue those warrants all day long. But if you don't have law enforcement, you got nothing. And who's the most active in all this freedom across the globe? The males or the females? In my opinion, my observations, it's the females. Where are the men? Where's the critical thinking? Where's the logic? Deal with the sheriffs. Anybody's got a way to contact a trucker who's in that freedom convoy, get them to listen to Mark Christopher. Direct them over to my channel. We got to get the message to these truckers that it's the sheriff and the coroner we need to deal with. The coroner's going to say you're alive or you're dead. The sheriff's going to be a law enforcement officer or he's going to be a traitor that needs to be arrested. It's just that simple. All right. That's all I got to say. I love you. I want you to be free. So own your authority. I'm shaking the screen all over the place. Own your authority, people.